and good morning. It's Friday, the 22nd of July, 2022. Time for a press review program here on Luntha Television. This morning, you are with me, Bernard Mwanza, but I'm with my colleague,
Andrew Pound.
Good morning, Pound.
Good morning, I should say.
Yeah, so we'll be taking through some of the stories that are appearing in the Daily Times newspaper, but of course,
And the Nation
newspaper. And to begin with, on the front page of the Daily Times, digital services crucial in development, says Chagwira. And part of the story reads, President Lazarus Chagwira has said digitalization is key to achieving the country's development agenda. Chagwira said this in Luntha yesterday after launching the first ever national data center. The center, which has been constructed along Manda Road in the commercial city, will centralize storage and access of data for government institutions to improve service delivery.
And on the Nation newspaper, we have this story with the headline, Opinions Spread on ACB Status, and it has a sub-headline, as MPs pass motion to enhance Bureau's independence. Part of the story reads, there are mixed opinions on Parliament move to pass a motion to facilitate amendment of the law to allow the Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB to prosecute cases without seeking consent from the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP. Yesterday,
Yes.
I think you're Monari Parliament.
Sure.
And you followed the whole thing.
And of course, as Times has that same story on the same front page. What the MPs are trying to do is just to try to give room for ACB to have that freedom, as you're saying, so that they can prosecute cases of corruption. Sometimes they do wait from the Director of Public Prosecution to give a go-ahead on each and every case. So MPs are trying to say, no, ACB has to be freed so that any case it can go ahead on their own, rather on its own as a bureau, investigating and prosecuting, so as trying to bring that effort in ending corruption, because sometimes the DPP can deny ACB, which means ACB cannot have any say because there isn't that authority from the Director of Public Prosecution. So I think it's a welcome move, and MPs had to vote for the motion. Almost more than half of the House. Only a few MPs maybe were against. They didn't have any say about that, but almost the MPs are in agreement that the Parliament has to table the bill. They have to discuss, and the bill has to be passed, that other sections of the Corrupt Practices Act have to be amended so that ACB can be at peace and freedom, that they can be handling those cases on their own.
Yeah.
Sure. And moving on the related story about corruption, court allows probe into Transglobe. High Court Judge Kenyatta Nyirenda has dismissed an injunction and an application for judicial review that Transglobe Limited obtained, blocking the police from instituting criminal investigations against the company's officials. In May this year, Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Steve Kayuni, instructed the Malawi Police Service to commence criminal proceedings against officers and companies that were allegedly involved in the plunder of 12.8 billion kwacha at Export Development Fund. The state applied for the discharge of permission of judicial review on the decision by the DPP of referring the matter to Malawi Police Service.
And we also have an interesting story on the second page of the Nation newspaper. PDC employees demand attention. Employees of People's Trading Center PDC yesterday petitioned government to intervene on their challenges, including non-payment of June salaries following the sale of their company to Tafika Holdings by previous shareholder Press Corporation PLC.
Mm-hmm.
Much is going around at PDC.
Yes, and of course that's the same story appearing in the daytimes on the third page, saying the scores of workers from PDC, food lovers and spa, they had to go on the road to at least show their dissatisfaction with how the management is handling such issues of the employment. But let's hope things work for their good. Yeah. Because they have families. Others are not getting paid, and once those jobs are lost, that means they will really be in trouble to look after their families, their other activities. So I think it's really, really good for government to intervene and help those looking at the current economic situation in the country to see someone losing job.
Yeah, many can be affected by this move.
Sure.
Since we know PDC, it has like a lot of suppliers.
Yes.
Which supplies goods to PDC. So even if not only those working with PDC, it will also affect other people working in different sectors of manufacturing.
You could point that to distribution or the contribution that they do. Say others, even the vegetables. Others do bring vegetables for sale and other commodities. So it will really, be of a difficult impact, a negative impact to almost everyone who is connected to the institution. Alright, and on the fourth page of the Daily Times, PAC engages Chakwera today. Part of the story reads, members of the Public Affairs Committee PAC are today expected to meet President Lazarus Chakwera at Sanjika Palace as a continuation of the advocacy and dialogue exercise done by the Kwasi Religious Organization. In an interview yesterday, PAC Executive Director Robert Piri confirmed the meeting, saying the dialogue exercises are aimed at fostering good democratic governance. Recently, PAC's board agreed to host an all-inclusive stakeholders meeting which, among others, seeks to tackle the economic status and corruption issues that are affecting Malawians.
Moving on to the fourth page of the Nation newspaper, pressure mounts for police to release 76 protesters. A civil society grouping and Democratic Progressive Party (DPP) have demanded the immediate release from police custody of human rights ambassadors, readers and protesters who were arrested on Wednesday in Lilongwe. The police arrested 76 protesters, including 8 civil rights activists, for inciting violence, unlawful assembly and contempt of court. How do you look at this issue? Some are saying that, they were supposed to be arrested. Some are saying, no, they were not supposed to be arrested. How do you look at this?
Well, I think those views because looking at the what happened on that day, the injunction came maybe just maybe a few hours before the purported demonstration. But then since others maybe did not have any information about the injunction, they proceeded. And there is another interesting story. I'm calling this interesting because most of the times we do hear from government, you want to do this, you want to do this. Ministry to hire 3,500 auxiliary teachers. The Minister of Education says it intends to hire at least 3,500 auxiliary teachers from the initial primary teacher education EPT cohorts 13 and 14 to be placed in various primary schools across the 34 education districts in the country. In a statement released yesterday, the ministry says the engagement of the teachers will be done directly by school management committees and that it will be temporary. According to the ministry, the contract period for the engagement is 12 months.
When it comes to education, it is like we move one step forward, then 4 steps backward. Yeah, that's what happens. There have been calls like we need to recruit more teachers, but that seems like it fails on deaf ears. Yeah,
and you can see saying these 3,500 are just auxiliary.
Yeah.
That means their contracts will also come to an end.
yeah, but more can be done. Yeah, since like education can be like the backbone of this nation. So we need more teachers.
And of course, there is a comment by Executive Director of the Civil Society Education Coalition, Benedito Kondowe, who said, had examples saying Zambia has recently recruited about 30,000 teachers. 30,000. And I was reading today that it is also recruiting 11,000 health workers. Now you can question, say, how are you as Malawi? Where are we really going wrong? Getting it wrong to say we can't have that potential to employ as many teachers as possible, because we have many schools that have only single teacher who has to go from standard 1 to 8.
Yeah,
The same person has to mark exercises or assignments for all the classes on a single day. But then you see there are many teachers who are just staying.
We expect such kind of schools to compete on a national level.
You see?
Yet a school has 1 teacher.
And it's really questionable to say, how are we really getting our cards wrong? Because now, if we have that potential, and someone was asking, saying, then why is the Minister of Education or government trying it hard to continue kuti akupita be kuma teaching school kuja akupita be kumaphunzitsa anthu aja kuti akhala phunzitsi, yet there are still many thousands of them who are not employed. That means if government is serious, then it should stop recruiting these students to go to teachers training, and then should focus on these who are already here. I think that can be fine. Then the resources that are being utilized there should go to the payments of salaries of these already learned students.
Katundu akungola koma tili naye
akuona kuti sakuganiziridwa. So I think ndi nthawi yoti mwina boma litaganizira amene kuti kodi muzingo aphunzitsirabe, muzingo bizabe kuaphunzitsa anthu amene otakakhala aphunzitsa amene you are failing to employ them on a temporary rather on a permanent basis. It's a question for all stakeholders to look into.
Yeah.
Well, we can move on.
Maybe I have to take one before moving to the back page.
Yes.
ACB deep youths on corruption fight. The Anti-Corruption Bureau, ACB, has encouraged youths in the northern region to take a leading role in the fight against corruption. Speaking on Wednesday during a meeting organized by the National Youth Anti-Corruption Network and ACB, the Bureau's Deputy Director, Elia Bodore, said youths can be used as an instrument to fight corruption because they are in majority.
All right, maybe quickly you can also go to a business story here. EIU sees government cutting expenditure. Global Economic think tank, the Economics Intelligence Unit, EIU, has projected a continuous cut in government expenditures proportion to the gross domestic product, GDP, in the short to medium terms. The EIU, as quoted by portfolio management and advisory firm, Bridgepath Capital Limited, says the estimated squeeze in government's expenditure is in line with the International Monetary Fund IMF's requirement that it consolidates its fiscal path. The EIU anticipates expenditure as a proportion of GDP to decline to 28.3% of GDP in 2026, and the public debt to GDP ratio to decline to 70% of GDP.
Moving on to the business section of the Nation newspaper, TNM creates 6,000 jobs through brand ambassadors. TNM PLC says it has recruited over 6,000 young people as part of its job creation initiative. The firm's brand and communications manager, Limbani Saparo, said this on Tuesday in Lilongwe during the launch of market intervention team hiring activity in Kinsapo. He said the Malawi Stock Exchange listed telecoms firms targets to hire at least 10,000 youths through the initiative. We are seeing that TNM has created 6,000 jobs.
That's really commendable.
And they have plans to do more than that. They are expected to create jobs more than 10,000.
Well, that's really commendable, and we wish TNM well on that plans that they have to be fulfilled. And quickly on the back page of the Daily Times, that's the sports section, near miss CAF award eludes Gaba. That's the main story appearing on the front page of the Daily Times. Malawi national football team striker Frank Gabadinho Muhango missed the 2022 Confederation of African Football Goal of the Year award after making the top 3. Senegalese Pep Osmani Sanko, who plays with Muhango's compatriot Peter Banda at Tanzanian side, Simbaisi, was announced the winner of the accolade during a gala night in the Moroccan city of Rabat last night. Muhango failed to travel to the North African nation due to logistical challenges. Morocco's Zohair Moutaraj was the other player in the top 3. Well, I think Gaba really deserves a salute, because reaching for the whole, all African teams, all African goals, to see himself in the top 3 of the best goals, I think it was really an achievement for him, and of course for Malawi. Really deserve to congratulate him in a special way. I think next time we'll do better and we'll take this out.
Moving on to the back page of the Nation newspaper. Ncheu Stadium touted to develop football. Senior Chief Koraine and business persons have touted construction of a 4.6 billion Maragua Ncheu Stadium, saying it will develop football players as well as boost business in the district. The chief said this on Tuesday when stakeholders inspected progress in the construction of the facility. Koraine also said it will help promote culture among the youth in the district. He said the facility will help improve the Ngon culture and others, since it's going to be a recreation center as well as where community members will be performing cultural dances. People will be able to sell Ngon foods such as pork, mice, Irish potatoes, and others as well. We are talking of sports, yes, but we have seen that the chief, Senior Chief Koraine, has also taken this one into another angle, whereby he's saying that it is going to promote culture.
The Ngon culture.
Yeah.
I've heard that they'll be selling mice there.
Yeah.
I think we have to be going.
Yeah.
All right, another story. Blades fire accountant. Kanyasa Big Blades have fired their accountant, Jeremiah Magomba, for attempting to defraud the team of gate collections amounting to 750,000 kwacha. The incident happened during Blades TNM Super League match against Waka Waka Tigers on May